Welcome back to another video. So this will be a follow-up for my previous video regarding NURB corbs that trace directly onto meshes. So as we can see over here on Buy Me a Coffee, I received the following comment. So regarding freeform surface on trace directly on STL files, there are some problems regarding topology optimization. And we see over here that I finally found a strip drawing and tube drawing commands, but the question is regarding this. So do you know how do you know these commands? Unfortunately, I couldn't try out these commands because the strip drawing works weirdly in my CATIA V5. So this will be regarding that. So regarding strip drawing, I will jump within this video and we're going to see within 3D experience it will work like this, and the functionality within CATIA V5 will be quite similar. So we can add new faces for the surface directly onto existing mesh, and let's take a look at in CATIA V5. So the feature will be located over here within the creation panel within Imagine and Shape, and for this case study I have the same Aston Martin car, and I will enable the drawing strip over here. We're going to see the tool palette will look like this. So we have over here add strip. Afterwards we're going to see the erase tool, and we can also use the constraint dimension and automatic sectioning. This mesh view will not be actually a mesh on and off view. It will actually be the bounding box and the control surfaces for that newly added surfaces. So the mesh, let's say the mesh is the car behind it, but within CATIA V5 Imagine and Shape they added the naming mesh for that bounding box. So I'm going to zoom in over here onto the hood of the car, and with this enabled for add strip, I can start adding various lines. For example, if I'm going to just draw a simple line, I'm going to see that nothing will happen within the product tree over here. But if I will add the same line and I will raise another side edge, we're going to see that this will create some geometry, but as the user said on Buy Me a Coffee, this will be quite weird. So we have those two vertices, and over here we're going to have one overlapping. Now, when you are tracing with drawing strip, it's important to define as much of that profile. So I'm going to press undo, and I'm going to create a new one where I will add, let's say, almost all the sides. And we're going to see that this will now snap over here, but we cannot actually start working with this. So after we have the first one defined, we can either go and trace additional, and those will be added separately. So this was just like an extruded one. Or we can click over here on the check box, and this will take us to the next section within the drawing strip. So this is still enabled. We see it over here in orange. But now if I'm going to go on to the outer section, we're going to see that this will add another surface. For example, in this case, I want to add a new one. And for all of those added, we can go on the vertices and we can reposition them. So for example, I can add those over here to follow that line. I can also add additional geometry. So if I will go over here onto the middle, this will add those additional vertices. And we can start moving this around. Now, if I will select this edge, for example, if I'm going to try to move it, we're going to see that this will look weirdly, and we have the impression that this edge is no longer added directly onto the surface of the hood, but this actually is. So I'm going to move it all the way over here, and now if I'm going to zoom out and I'm going to rotate, we're going to see that it will be snapped to those vertices from the mesh. So if I will swap this to wireframe, those will actually be linked to that surface. So keep that in mind, and in this case we can just correct that by having them set tightly like this. And afterwards I can just add another section over here. I can make it like this, over here I can add a new one. And if you are having this overlapping faces, you can just select the endpoint, and if you're going to move it close to another one, you're going to see that it will automatically snap over there. And using this method, we can create additional geometry that is added over here directly. We're going to see how that will have the following output. So we can further go within Imagine a Shape and remove that curvature. Or I can select over here an additional face, and I will snap it over there, and that will get rid of that. So if I'm going to press escape, that will make that that feature finished. So we are no longer within drawing strip, but we have the mesh over there position quite close to that reference mesh. So if I'm going to hide the Aston Martin STL file, we're going to see that this will be the output. And now if I'm going to double click, this will activate the normal workflow from Imagine a Shape, and we can start and move those points around on each axis, or we can select them, we can align them, and we can also get rid of those sections that are a little bit, let's say, curved like this. If you want to go back and further extend your subdivision surface, you can also activate the reference again. We can double click on the subdivision. This will take us to the tool palette, but if I'm going to go within drawing strip, this will take me back to the edit mode. And as you can see, I'm over here within the same subdivision. So this will be in my case subdivision surface 4. And I can start adding those additional points, and I can have them merged. If for some reason you want some of them to be erased, you can use the erase tool over here. And as you can see, if I'm moving the mouse above a specific surface, I'm going to click left click, and that will clear that. And this will be that mesh view. As you can see, in this case will actually be that gradient. So we have that visible over here. It's quite similar to the one within Imagine a Shape. So if I'm going to select this, I'm going to press space to enable the tool palette. This is the control mesh, and we're going to see the icon will look like this, so mesh view. If I'm going to click once on this, that bounding box will be hidden. But if I will move my mouse, I'm going to see I have a control vertex over there in orange, one over here inwards, and one over here perfectly overlapped to the surface. So keep that in mind that they share the same icon over here, as you can see, but this will be mesh. This will make that gradient fill for the mesh being removed. And we have some additional information over here. So extrude edge, mostly that is how you can expand the drawing strip, as you can see over here. But the main advantage is that we can easily recreate this surface within CATIA V5 Imagine a Shape. If you are familiar with my previous video, it's a little bit trickier and complicated to have this within freestyle, because if you're gonna go and trace some sketches directly over here, they will be slightly, let's say, misaligned. They will not be that fit to the mesh. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this kind of content. I will position a similar video on the left side, and I will also add a subscribe button to the right. So that's it. Thanks for watching.